guys, if you're new to my channel, I'm Dominique. I make videos about my life and career journey in the lab as a medical laboratory scientist. I'm literally getting over laryngitis right now, so my voice is still a little bit raspy, but I wanted to catch up. Happy holidays. It's been a pretty busy season for me, but I wanted to chat with y'all on everything that's been happening this year in my journey. I don't want this to be another vent session, but it's probably gonna come off as one. I really just want to look back on this and remember why I made certain decisions. This year taught me the importance of boundaries at work. It sounds obvious, but I have a bad habit of just dealing with circumstances. I just hold my head down and just push through whatever is thrown at me. And I guess in a way it's resilience, but honestly, it leaves me in a state of being spread too thin. For context, I first noticed this at my first job in microbiology. I was working in a large central hospital lab. It was closer to 1,000 beds. We serviced 6 other hospitals plus clinics and urgent cares and doctor offices. There were 8 benches, and it was a thing to work with half staffing during COVID. But it became overwhelming when it started to be just 3 of us for the whole department. Now, doing the job of 2 people is a lot, but it's tolerable. But doing the job for 3 people is a stretch. Like, it's more room for error, higher risk of harm, and just increased stress on us. It's not sustainable long term. And, you know, once in a while, you gotta do what you gotta do. But there comes a point. My issue was that I just used to feel like if I held my head down, just got through the shift, things would eventually get better. And it did not. I feel like it just sends a message that they can expect me to handle it. So where I went wrong was not speaking up and saying that it was too much the first few times it happened. So anyway, I switched jobs in spring of 2024. So this past year, what I also learned is that sometimes it's not the entire job that's the problem, it's just the people. And I've mentioned before that work cultures in the lab can be kind of negative, but usually it's tolerable. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. My new job in micro, again, just a smaller hospital system. At first, it was okay. The problem started in my training, though. Like, obviously, every facility does things differently, so I need to ask questions. But every time they would snap at me, like, okay, whatever. It's something I've dealt with before. Not everybody likes to train. I get it. These interactions then turned to talking down to me and berating me for not knowing, just very snippy. They would just make me feel so bad for opening my mouth. Again, I took it because whatever. I wouldn't be asking questions if I knew. It turned to complaints to leadership, who said in a lab meeting to not ask questions to other techs because it's rude to interrupt them from their work. And I know to go look at the procedures, whatever. But I never worked anywhere that discouraged questions. So it's kind of weird. Then it was a problem, which I've noticed this for microbiology departments in general, that if you don't do things exactly the way they do it, they get pissy. Like, you're not wrong. You're in policy, you're just not doing it the way they want you to. And usually somebody would just explain to you why they do things a very particular way, because if you're not taught how else are they going to expect you to learn? But here, they would just beeline straight to the supervisor and complain. Then it started with these random accusations, blaming me for problems. And it was even times I wasn't at the bench, nor I wasn't at work that day, and somehow my name would still come up. I won't go into details, but it was always something. It's like this place showed me why. Techs taught me to CYA early on, which means to cover your ass so things can't be your fault, because stories will be made up and the details can get so twisted. But it was always threats of write-ups, but nothing would stick for real. It got kind of bad where I guess they just lost their trust in me or whatever, because they started going behind me every time I did something because they were saying that I couldn't do stuff right. I didn't care. I was just glad to have a stable work schedule because it gave me a routine that I needed at the time. I had a severe episode of vertigo this past summer that took 6 months for physical therapy and countless doctor appointments, plus trying to do grad school. I was honestly and truly just tired. I've never been so exhausted in my life. So I chose to hold my head down and work. And I told myself that eventually maybe this will all stop. And people that know me know that I'm just a chill girl. Like, I'm very observant, pretty introverted. So it's hard to get a reaction out of me. It's really not in my nature to yell back. I'm not going to stoop to a level. I'm not going to raise hell. I'm not going to match energy. Like, I will remove myself before it gets to that. So in this case, I just quit. I literally finished my last day today, and it was pretty emotional because I don't know. I feel like I can just finally breathe and stop stressing. And to wrap up this issue, basically it was a lot of toxicity that made the job stressful. I just wanted to add that sometimes the work cultures can be negative, but they can also be very toxic. Oh, well, I would not force myself to stay somewhere like that. And that's just not an option. But I was venting in details about these experiences to other techs that I'm friends with. One is a senior tech, and he said he dealt with the same issues early in his career too, but he matched energy. Like, he was always going to take it there. Anybody can get it, and still can. Like, it's just the kind of person he is. But the nuggets of wisdom he gave me was that there are places that will appreciate me and respect me, where they won't treat me like I'm stupid, or they won't treat me like a robot. There are places that treat you like a human being. And it shouldn't be a lot to ask for, but like, it's the bare minimum. So people were telling me that basically to look at your early career as learning what you're willing to put up with. Like, where do you draw the line of what you will tolerate at work? And in these cases, my boundary is walking away. And I think that's just my attitude in general, is that if you wanted people to stay, you wouldn't have treated them in whatever manner you did in the first place. It shouldn't take a notice of resignation to decide to treat somebody better. That's just how I look at it. Usually when I put in my notice, it's like they're asking what they can do to do better. But this place did not. They were just like, okay, bye. So I know the feeling was mutual. I just was not a good fit for that lab. I did take some time these last few weeks to really just sit with myself and think about what am I doing, because I really don't want to keep jumping from lab to lab and having these experiences. I decided to pivot away from microbiology to kind of give myself a reset button. I just really want to find a position that is aligned with my reasons why I actually enjoy working in a lab, because I have an extensive list of cons right now, but I actually had to make a hard decision to be willing to pivot to something else and not be so close-minded to microbiology. So now I'm open to work other departments, which is not something I thought I would ever hear myself say, but people change, things change, circumstances happen. And I just don't want another repeat of this, of these issues. But yeah, I actually had to ask myself, what do I really like about working as a medical lab scientist? Because when you're in the trenches, when you're in the thick of it, you don't see positivity. You lose your spark, because I definitely felt like I lost my spark this year. And I'm really trying to figure out my reasons why. Why do I stay in healthcare? Because sometimes it's rough. Why did I choose the lab? But yeah, after asking myself over the last few weeks, I think my most fulfilling moments of the lab are helping people understand what we do. I honestly enjoy sharing knowledge that I've gained from working. I've had the chance to precept students in MLS and MLT programs. I've precepted new grads and new hires. I've precepted resident doctors. I've only done it for a few years, but I've grown to really like it. And it can be humbling too. It's nothing worse than getting a question on something you do literally every day. You don't think about it hard enough. So it helps me stay on my toes to keep learning more from their perspectives too. But working in the lab, I'm not gonna lie, it's given mundane, but the days I get to precept makes my job fun, because I get to just yap about the cool stuff we do for patients, and someone is actually interested in hearing what I have to say. It can be challenging because every person is at a different stage of understanding, so it requires me to communicate to people on different levels. But I really do enjoy it, and I want to make sure that whatever area of the lab I pivot to will give me the space to learn and grow, so that I can continue to help people understand what we do in the lab. And hopefully, long term, I'd be able to pursue higher education in the future if it works out. I've worked for some years as a STEM tutor and a TA, so it isn't a far-fetched idea for me to want to go back to that environment, because it was a positive space for me. But yeah, this was a ramble about my 3.5 years in the lab. This was the year that opened my eyes to what I don't want in the future. I think that helps to lessen the clutter in my mind, to not spend time and energy on things that won't help me get to where I envision myself in the future. Honestly, for now, I just want to find a workplace that I enjoy. And I just haven't found that place in microbiology. I still like the subject, so I'm doing my master's in micro and concentrating in bioinformatics for the challenge, but to also qualify me to work in a university in the future, like maybe lecturing or something. I realize I'm one of those people that find satisfaction and fulfillment and happiness and all that in my job, where some people could care less. But for me, that just means that I will continue seeking challenges and growth and new opportunities. This is the last time y'all will hear me say this, but I'm 27. I literally have 40 years of work ahead of me. I'm giving myself permission to pursue whatever I find cool along my journey. And for me right now, I'm defining that as having a job that allows me room to learn and grow, but also gives me the space to share that knowledge with others. So I do apologize. I know this last year I haven't really posted much of anything. If I'm being honest, I was really just feeling down about all the stuff I was going through, and it definitely takes the fun out of this channel because I feel like an imposter if I get on here and yap about working a job that I'm not even content with myself. And that's why I had less content. Plus, I've been pretty sick, so the best I could do was vlogs. On that note, I'm trying to find direction for this channel. I don't really know what you guys want to see. Somebody commented the other day that they tired of my vlogs. It was kind of ruthless, but in the same sentiment, nobody ever comments what they want to see. Like, I'm very open to video ideas about the lab content. If there's questions you have or something you're interested in knowing about the lab, like, just let me know. Somebody did actually comment last week that they are interested in seeing more DIY lab video ideas for things that they can do at home. And those are fun, so I'm planning to do more of that this year. But please leave comments on video ideas or something, because y'all don't care about the vlogs. I'm gonna keep doing them because I like vlogs, and this has always been a vlog lifestyle channel, but I'm still open to other video ideas. So if there's questions you have or video topics you want to see, just let me know. But I'll talk to you guys next time.